Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Narayanam Namaskritya Naram Chaiva Narottamam Devim Saraswatim Vyasam Tato Jayamudiriye. नष्टप्रायेषु अभद्रेषु नित्यं भागवत सेव्या भगवती उत्तम श्लोके भक्तिर्भवति नैष्टिकी. Text 1 from that Canto 3, Chapter 5. Sukdev Goswami said, Vidura, the best among the Kuru dynasty, who was perfect in devotional service to Lord, thus reached the source of the celestial Ganges water near Haridwar, where Maitreya, the great fathomless, learned sage of the world, was seated. Vidura, who was perfect in gentleness and satisfied in transcendence, inquired from him. Text 2. Vidura said, O great sage, everyone in this world engages in the futile activities to obtain happiness, but one finds neither satiation, satisfaction, nor mitigation of the distress. On the contrary, one is only aggravated by such activities. Please, therefore, give us direction on how one should live for the real happiness. Text 3. O my Lord, great philanthropic souls travel on the earth on the behalf of the Supreme Personality of Godhead to show compassion to the fallen souls who are averse to the sense of subordination to the Lord. Text 4. Therefore, O great sage, please give me instruction on the transcendental devotional service of the Lord, so that He who is situated in the heart of everyone can be pleased to impart from within the knowledge of the absolute truth in terms of the ancient Vedic principle delivered only to those who are purified by the process of devotional service. Text 5. O great sage, kindly narrate how the personality of Godhead, who is the independent, desireless Lord of the three worlds and the controller of all energies, accepts incarnations and creates the cosmic manifestation with perfectly arranged regulative principles for its maintenance. Text 6. He lies on his own heart spread in the form of a sky, and thus placing the whole creation in the space, he expands himself into many living entities, which are manifested as different species of life. He does not have to endure for his maintenance because he is the master of all mystic powers and the proprietor of everything. Thus, he is distinct from the living entities. Text 7. You may narrate also about the auspicious characteristic of the Lord in his different incarnation for the welfare of the twice born, the cows, and the demigods. Our minds are never satisfied completely, although we continuously hear of his transcendental activities. Text 8. The Supreme King of all kings has created different planets and places of habitations within the living entity, where the living entities are situated in terms of the mode of nature and work, and he has created their different kings and the rulers. Text 9. O chief amongst the Brahmanas, Please also describe how Narayan, the creator of the universe, the self-sufficient Lord, has differently created the nature's activities, forms, features, names of the different living creatures. Text 10. O my Lord, I have repeatedly heard about these higher and lower statuses of human society from the mouth of Vyasadeva, and I am quite satisfied with all these lesser subject matters and their happiness. They have not satisfied me with the nectar of topics about Krishna. Text 11. Who in the human society can be satisfied without hearing sufficient talk of the Lord, whose lotus feet are the sum total of all places of the pilgrimage, and who is worshipped by the great sages and the devotees. Such topics can cut off one's bondage to the family affection simply by entering the holes of one ear. Text 12. Your friend, the great sage Krishna Dwapayana Vyasa, has already described the transcendental quality of the Lord in his great work, the Mahabharata. But the whole idea is to draw the attention of the mass of the people to Krishna Katha through their strong affinity for hearing the mundane topics. Thus ends this portion of Bhaktivedanta purport of the third canto, fifth chapter, entitled of Srimad Bhagavatam, entitled Vidura Talks with Sage Maitreya. Hare Krishna.
Yeah, thanks so much, Kishore Prabhuji. Yeah, so Krishna Prabhuji, when are you ready, you can start, Prabhuji.
Yeah, Hare Krishna. Thank you so much, Prabhuji. Krishnaya Vasudevaya Devaki Nandanaya Cha Nandagopakumaraya Govindaya Namo Namaha. Vairagya Vidya Nija Bhakti Yogam Siksashramekam Purusha Puranam Shri Krishna Chaitanya Sariragari Kripambudirtamaham Prapadye. Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, dear devotees. Today we are reading from chapter 5. So here in this chapter, it's a wonderful chapter where Vidura is meeting with Maitreya Rishi. So in the previous chapter, Uddhava was describing the pastimes of Lord Sri Krishna, how Lord Krishna and his Yadu dynasty departed from this worldly affairs, and he also tells that Vidura, it is just external reason that the curse and all, but internally Lord has made the plan to leave this material world. And also he says about the reason why Uddhava was left behind, because Uddhava carries the knowledge that Krishna's the absolute truth from Krishna, and he is actually going to disseminate this knowledge in this world. And then Uddhava also gives a hint that if you go towards north, you can meet Maitreya Rishi, where you can have transcendental talks with him and get imparted knowledge from him. So, and then Vidura walks towards the river. After a few days in the river Yamuna, he walks towards the north, and then he meets Maitreya Rishi on the bank of Ganges. So where this chapter starts. So Vidura is mentioned here as the best among the Kuru dynasty, who was also a perfect devotee of the Lord. So he reached the place called Haridwar. So Haridwar is the source, considered source of Ganges in the north, where Himalayas mountains, the snow melts and then the river is actually formed. So there, the sage was sitting alone. So he was, and also the Vidura's qualities were mentioned here, that Saushilya Guna Abritruptaha. So he is, Saushilya means very gentle, and Guna Abitruptaha. He has a transcendental qualities. Guna means qualities, transcendental qualities. And Siddhaha means perfect, he is a realized soul. Bhava Siddhaha. So this is his character is perfect. And so he is also carrying so he approached the sage, and the sage's quality is also mentioned. The sage is great, fathomless, learned sage. So here it is mentioned that Agada Bodham, Agada Bodham means unfathomed knowledge. So he has such a perfect knowledge the Maitreya Rishi was carrying. So, and now Vidura was approaching him. So here Prabhupada mentions that Vidura is already, is full of unalloyed devotion to the Lord, Supreme Lord. And he has attained the qualitative nature of the Lord. And so is not at all like ordinary living entity. So here Vidura is already surpassed the conditioned soul, because of the Achyuta Bhava, so that he is carrying. And this stage Prabhupada mentions is Achyuta Bhava Siddha. So this is a stage of life where one is in the Bhava stage of the, that this 9 stages of bhakti. One is in a Bhava stage, and this Prabhupada is mentioning is Achyuta Bhava Siddha, or perfection by dint of devotional service. So he is in this stage, and he is approaching Maitreya Rishi for the again immersing himself into the Lord's transcendental qualities and topics, and also to benefit the living entities by inquiring from Maitreya Rishi. So now Vidura Uvacha. So Vidura is asking Maitreya Rishi that he is inquiring from he's not directly diving into the topics of the Lord, questioning, because of the reason of general populace, like common people needs to understand what is the importance of devotional service, what is the importance of understanding the Lord, and what is the suffering in this material world. So he's asking a common question, and then so that the common population can actually understand the importance of taking to the devotional service of the Lord. So what Vidura is asking is Sukhaya Karmani Karoti Loko. So he is saying that everyone in this world is after happiness, and they are doing karmani, so like they're doing work, Karoti Loko. But Natai Sukham Vanyat Upramam. So but what happens is they get never satisfied, like they neither get satisfied nor their distress is actually getting reducing. But on the contrary, what is happening? Vintate bhuyas tata eva dukkham. So on the contrary, their miseries are increasing, and he is requesting Maitreya Rishi, Yad atra yuktam bhagavan vadenna. So please describe us, give us directions how one should live for real happiness. So that is the question. He is addressing Maitreya Rishi as here Bhagavan, because he is very, very close to the Lord. and out of his respect and love, he's addressing. And then, so in this purport, Prabhupada also mentions that there is a nice song in this connection. Out of great desire and happiness, I built a house, but unfortunately, the whole scheme has turned into ashes because the house was unexpectedly set on fire. So this is a song that he's quoting, that the material nature is like that. Everyone wants to paint a nice picture and planning and everything, but ultimately it is all becomes very, very pathetic. So that is the way the material world is. So the fruitive activities is compared to this kind of continuous hankering for suffering without satiation, without any final that happiness that they're hankering after. They never reach that happiness. So then verse number 3, Vidura is glorifying Maitreya Rishi. So he's saying, Janasya Krishna Vimukashya Daivat. So Vimukashya means the one who has turned his face against the Lord. Krishna is the Supreme Lord Krishna. So for the sake of common man who has turned against the Lord, against the face of the Lord, because of Daivat. Daivat, this is the energy, Daivi. Bhagavad Gita also says, Daivi Esha Gunamayi Mama Maya Duradhyaya. So this Daivi, the mode of three modes of nature, very, very difficult to overcome. But the Lord, they have the reason is they've turned against the face of the Lord. And Adharma Silashya Sukha. Adharma Silashya is one who is accustomed to engaging in the irreligious activities. So, and who is also Su Dukhitasya, means Dukhi means unhappy. Here he's saying Su Dukhitasya means very, very unhappy. And for such people, great sages like Maitreya Rishi is just, going around the surface of the globe. So here he's saying, Anugrahaya charanti nunam bhutani bhavyani janardanasya. So Anugrahaya means he is so compassionate for the mercy, giving mercy to these people. Charanti, he is just wandering in this planet for the purpose of Janardanasya, meaning by distributing the on behalf of the Supreme Lord. So Supreme Lord, another name is Janardanasya. So this is again, he's glorifying the Maitreya Rishi. Vidura is glorifying. So again here Prabhupada says that all the living entities have natural bhakti in their heart. So Shastra also says that Krishna bhakti is in the heart of everyone. But because of the past misdeeds, they are turning averse to the sense of that subordination to the Lord. And because of that sense of aversion, they are suffering in the miseries of material existence. So, but the actual position of the living entity is to naturally render this devotional service to the Lord. But any other activity, Prabhupada mentions here that any other activity is considered like a rebellion, kind of against the Supreme Lord, like turning the face against the Supreme Lord. So that is the very comparison he is giving. And all the fruitive activity, the mysticism, yoga mysticism, and then empirical philosophy, everything is more or less is turning the face against the Lord. It is. So, but the only way to counteract this is to be again performing the loving devotional service to the Lord, beginning from Shravanam. So, and then Vidura goes on Now he is asking specific questions. So Vidura says he is asking, he is saying that Lord, Supreme Lord, is expanded in this creation. He is in the heart of everyone, and please impart me knowledge so that the Supreme Lord in my heart is pleased, and he can actually direct me, and he can give me instructions. Give me such instructions so that the Lord inside my heart is pleased. So this is a wonderful way of questioning. So here he's saying, Samradito Bhagavan Yena Pumsham Hridistito. So Hridistito is like Lord residing in the heart. Yachati Bhakti Pure Jnanam Satattva Adhigamam Puranam. So give me such knowledge, which is the Vedic knowledge, which is the oldest knowledge, by which the Lord inside my heart is, pleased. So indirectly he is asking Maitreya Rishi to give him the Lord's pastimes, qualities, activities, because that pleases the jiva as well as the Lord. So and Prabhupada points out from Bhagavad Gita that the verse Tesham satata yuktanam bhajatam priti purvakam dadami buddhi yogam tam yena mam upayanti te. So in this verse, Lord actually promises that one who does bhakti with bhajatam priti purvakam, with love, for him, I will, he can come closer to me. I will give him knowledge. I will give him directions in the heart, how to come to me. So dadami buddhi yogam. So this point he is saying that jnanis, karmis, and yogis, they cannot understand this point, that Lord can directly, direct you from the heart. Because they consider that they can become the Lord by perfection, by performing these austerities and yogic processes. So because of that reason, they cannot understand how Lord actually from the heart can direct the conditioned soul. So that point Prabhupada is making here. So and then going on, Vidura is again asking to narrate the topics of the Supreme Lord, how the Lord is considered, Atmaram. So he is self-satisfied. He doesn't have any desires. And here he is mentioned as Triya Adishaha. So the Lord of three worlds. And Atma Tantraha, self-independent. So self-independent, Triya Adishaha. So this Bhagavan, who is desireless, and who is the Lord of the three worlds, and who is also controller of all the energies, and he also accepts incarnations. So he either says Yata Sasar Jagra Idam Niri Aha. So here he is accepting incarnations, and he creates this cosmic manifestation. So kindly narrate how he is doing all this. So that was the questions that he's asking. And also he's asking, he's also saying that these are all this, he perfectly arranges karoti karmani krita va taro, krita avataraha. So this Lord avataraha incarnations, all the transcendental activities of the Lord. So he's asking, so again, Prabhupada is elaborating on the Purusha avatars, Karodakshai Vishnu, Karanadakshai Vishnu, Garbhodakshai Vishnu, Sirodakshai Vishnu, and how the material creation happens like that. And then the verse number 6, the Lord is here, the sky is compared to the Lord's heart. Lord's Hridayam. So here, and then the whole creation is within his this space, within his heart, and then he expands into all of the living entities. So here, Yogeshwara, Adi Ishvara. So the two words describing the Lord, the master of mystic powers, and Adi Ishvara is like the proprietor of everything. So these two words are used to describe the Lord. And the question the Vidura is asking is, so he's giving a message that Lord is expanding in his own heart in the form of sky, and then he's putting in this expanding into all the living entities. Though he does not have to endeavor for his maintenance, he's self satisfied, and he does not have to endeavor. He's the master of all mystic powers. But how is it different from the living entities? So thus is this is putting some points, and then these varieties is asking Maitreyi to describe the varieties. In the next verse, he will actually put that particular question. So, and then he's asking to describe the auspicious characteristics of the Lord, and for the pleasure of twice born Brahmanas, cows, and Devatas. So here, Kridan Vidate Dvija Go Suranam. So Dvija Go Suranam is like the Brahmanas, cows, and demigods. So he's again the Lord's characteristics he's asking to describe. For what purpose? For the welfare of these three, Brahmanas, cows, and Devatas. And also he's saying that his mind is manona truptyati, like his mind is never satisfied, and he wants to hear the topics of the Lord continuously. So, and Prabhupada makes the elaborate purport describing the importance of Dvija, twice born Brahmanas, cows, and Devatas, how they play very, very vital role in this creation and the maintenance of the creation and for the welfare of the whole creation. So how the cow milk is so essential for the finer tissues of the brain, for the transcendental knowledge. We can understand the transcendental knowledge by drinking this wonderful cow's milk. And he's also elaborating on the Devatas, how they actually participate in the Lord's pastimes and different incarnations. So going further on the verse number 8. So here he is describing Krishna as the king of all kings. So he is saying Akila Lok Adi Loka Nataha. So Lokan, Alokan, it's like both worlds, the lower planetary system, upper planetary system. He is the king of all kings, and he is places of where the so again the Lord expands himself in this whole creation. So he is the abode for everybody. So he's saying he's all of the living entities were situated in different modes of nature and work. He's the he's describing is the place of habitation, meaning that Lord expands into the sky, and he is also created different rulers and kings. So here again, Lord Krishna is the chief king of all kings. So that Prabhupada makes this point in the purport also. And he has created different planets for all different kinds of living entities. So and then the verse number 9. So he is asking particularly about Narayano Vishvarga Atmayonir. So he's asking about the pastimes of Narayana, who is the creator of the universe, and self-satisfied, Atma Yonir, so self-sufficient. And he's asking about the nature, activities, forms, features, and names of different living creatures. So he's asking about the varieties of this creation, how Lord has differently created these natures, activities, and all these varieties. About the varieties, he's asking in this question. And Prabhupada makes this point in the purport that how this in the world, there are different varieties of forms in the color of the appearance, color of the living entities, so Vidura is requesting to explain these differences between all living creatures made by Narayana as the Supreme Personality of Godhead. And then verse number 10, so Vidura is making a specific point that he already heard all these topics about the higher and lower status of human society, this Varnashram Dharma and all that from Vyasudev, and he is quite satisfied with these topics. But what he is not satisfied is Teshamruta Krishna Katamruta Amruta Ogat. So he is not satisfied from the Krishna Katamruta. So now he is asking Maitreya specifically describe about the pastimes of Lord Sri Krishna. And the verse number 11. So he's also saying that who in the human society can be satisfied without hearing sufficient talk of the Lord? Who is so here Tirtha Pado Abhidanat, like Krishna's lotus feet is the place of all pilgrimage. So it's the sum total of all places of pilgrimage is a point mentioned here. And is also worshipped by great sages and devotees. And what happens by hearing these topics? Bhava Pradam Geha Ratim Chindati. So all this affection, Geha Ratim, like affection for family, gets cut off. So that point is glorifying the topics. The effect of the hearing Krishna Katha is glorifying here. And finally, the verse number 12 for today. He's elaborating on the Mahabharata that he is already elaborately described and by Krishna Dvaipayana Vyasa, and but the whole point is Matir Grihiti na Hare Katayam. So the whole point is to bring everybody to Hari Katha. So that was the reason. So he is also glorifying Krishna Dvaipayana Vyasa. That he is very intelligently giving mundane topics, but he is bringing everybody to this attention of Krishna Katha. So that concludes today's verse. Hare Krishna. Thank you very much.
Yeah, thank you so much, Sri Krishna Prabhuji. Thank you for wonderful class. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna, Prabhuji.
Thank you, Prabhuji.